Okay, so we're here at about 3:45 in the morning, just in between King's Cross and Islington. And we're going to go on a walking poetry tour through Islington, through Canterbury, the rough area where Mr Cummings lives without revealing his personal address. And we'll see if we have time to go to the small canals and parks on the other side. The set list will be 2 breakdowns down, smart casual, I'm not excited, settling down, human pinball, subtitles, maybe one more, one less. Okay, here we go. I got a can of Red Stripe because I gave some homeless people. I got them one and I wanted it to seem cool and I didn't really want it, so we'll see if there's a bin. Alright. Good evening. I'm the ghost. Or you can call me Jackie Green. And I've been single for a year. My ex was a bull of aggression. She downed the vodkas, I nursed the sessions. I'm the privileged product of a 12-year recession, a twice broken dam of emotional repression, telling a potential new boss I make a great second impression, rebuilding the skills to have any discretion, valiantly seeking a 7th profession, till then as loaded as Catholic confession. I was praying and fearing a Corbyn accession. Will I flirt with the right to try and make a little money? Have you been doing that since 2012, honey? Is it funny? If I'm going to be a ghost, let's make it in a good way. Getting a tale of hope out of a past of pain, working on trying to run out of things to say. On my last strike, there's higher stakes, 2 breakdowns down. I'm back from the dead in the land of the broken. The world can go backwards, I'll rise to the top. Check my Instagram at Mr Ross Josh every day, a photo of the same tower block at the Bellevue estate. I've been single for a year and a half now. At first I sporadically sexted an old fling. She found it easier to meet my advances with rejection. I ended up unloading my manic depression. She's finally going from bi to lesbian, starting a business embroidering, sewing, dealing with an eating disorder. I'd go out to meet women I like less than her, to flirt with them and do nothing, to go home to wank over arguments we could have had in the future. You know, schizophrenic conversations with imaginary exes. My dream threesome is Method Man with Texas. Brit Awards 1998. YouTube suggests this. A Kurt Angle on quadruple suplexes. Meet Wade Barrett, day 1 of the Nexus. CM Punk. The Kurt Angle on quadruple suplexes. I'm lifting myself of all my hexes. All my exes live in Texas. Stuff your face with Tex-Mexes. London burns with New York duplexes. The Spinosaurus in the land of T-Rexes. The moody bastard intentionally vexes. You're all squares, I'm convexes. Intentionally perplexes, writing regardless of sexes.
Are you alright? Are you over? Are you? Are you?
What's up? Mate, like, I'm all good, I don't. But keep... No, I was going to say keep yourself out of trouble. Because, like, the police around and stuff, I'm just saying, be smart. No, I'm saying just keep smart, guys. Do what you got to do. The moody bastard intentionally vexes. The Spinosaurus in the land of T-Rexes. You get it? T-Rexes, they've got big heads and small arms. Google best dinosaur, because you just set the bar low till you do the limbo. I'm doing long jump and high jump. competing for silver and gold like Carl Lewis on 5 cigarettes a day. Right now you're playing some reboot of Grand Theft Auto, Halo, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Gran Turismo, ISS Pro, FIFA Year Zero. You're living your life on Ground Zero. I have enough failure to draw from forever. Nice guys finish last as they live the longest. An 8-week delay on an accountancy course for mature students, funded by the government and clearly outsourced, with evil flatmates and no internet. I spent my summer in bed. I'm going to be pale all winter. I will not be a bummer outside my own head. And progress can't feel quite like it. You can't take a good reason to quit. You can't take a bad reason to quit. You've got to work your way out of the shit. Dig your way out of a pit. Admit fears you don't admit. Shake your ass when life cracks the whip. Forgive yourself for every slip. Clean your room, it's still a tip. Shake your ass when life cracks the whip. You can't regret everything. You can call me Joshua Ross. Goodbye. The plains sweep clouds. The ozone layer goes. The air is warmer. The wind is colder. The tap water sour. A new dose of London Victoriana. Switched back to 7 p.m. in 2015 and said we'd meet at the Faltering Fullback in half an hour. She's 24. Jack Bauer, defensive with a glancing cut, I'm a silver fox. David Gower, corner keeper. Manuel Nauer, with a hippie shirt that's crisp and fresh and model face flower power. Off his student diet of apple sours. I moved on to whiskey sour. God blazer and thick frame specs. Do. Austin Powers. We'll go to the pleasure beach if we stick to fairground. Blackpool Tower. We say we like the same bands, but I'm too agreeable to what I see in the dawn. A 6 Music National LCD White Power. When we walk to her, she's got the Stroud Green glower, and you need that here these days. Be kind to the bridge trolls, see how that pays. They're city boys on 40k, dealers with 2 PAs, hip kids on the minimum wage, convinced their art's the latest craze. This prolonged gap year that never pays. For their parents, it's a moral maze. The manic depression in the purple haze. Jimi Hendrix fans are extras in my purple patch. Friends are married and I'm semi-detached. For myself. She's got a double-barreled surname. Her dad was high up in the Green Party once. An elder academic ex she found was on the register. And she says she's a feminist but thinks Thatcher's a cunt. Her parents are socialists who like to lock them up young. Really proud their daughter marched against Trump. Political insights of Forrest Gump. I'm still in my sophomore slump. Can't sleep, my conscience frets. I kick myself out, she shouts 5 a.m, but it's like my hero Robbie said, no regrets. And I can get called a baby face, let my courage shown up. Smoke till there are lines on my face, act like I'm a grown up. Say my friends abandon me, they don't pick the phone up. Drink till I'm spittling, claim I haven't thrown up. Go to a gym class twice, tell myself I'm toned up. Slag off the whole industry, claim the game is sewn up. See a stage full of hacks, ask why I haven't blown up. Tell a stranger my life story, she's not going to fix it. Tell another next week, they're not going to fix it. The best case scenario is that you mark and bricks it. I can tell another the next week, take the details and remix it. I can tell another the next week, remix it and take the details. I take it, can tell the week, remix details, and next another. I'm at a party, a cousin's engagement party in the daytime. Could this possibly count as a real party? What's that, mate? Am I doing a master's or a BA? We were at grammar school together. We avoided each other then. What's changed? You're boarding with another on the way. Stop talking to me, keep stuffing your face. She's been on a weekend break to Lisbon. I'm at my parents' in an upper-class prison with a diagnosis to play the victim. It was 42 degrees, well that's due to nuclear fission. I'm at my parents' in an upper-class prison, diagnosis to play the victim, the pre-millennial social schism, mild hint of schizophrism. Screw on you, dynamic rainbow prism. Screw on you, dynamic rainbow prism. Screw on you, dynamic rainbow prism. I'm Josh. I was at my parents' in an upper-class prison, got rid of a diagnosis, didn't play the victim, moved out. When I was at that grammar school, I went to every kind of school in the end. It's a long story. Went to nursery with Sting and Jeremy Beadle's kids. Ended up at Barnet College, which is as rough as you can get in Barnet. I was at that grammar school with that prick that's semi-fictional. I guess I had ADD or MP3 or OCD or DCO because I kept counting my steps in the morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got so bored of it I started adding letters A, B, C, D, E. Then I knew which number was which letter. Like you can say 26, 25, 24. I've now got the world record for saying the alphabet backwards. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, H, J, F, D, C, B, A. Z, Y, X, W, V, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, Q, okay. Let's see if I can do that. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, D, C, B, A. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, D, C, B, A. Put that on my CV. Okay. License there. Just take a couple of minutes to explain the area. So, this is Chapel Market. There's a lot of independent businesses. That's Upper Street over there, Ryder Station. That's the really posh street. Down there's Highbury and Islington, which is where you get closer to the old football ground, Highbury and Arsenal Station. The other side of Arsenal Station's the Emirates. Down that way is like the City of London, Old Street. That way is, what is it? It's probably Camden or so. And supermarkets. It's just really around the corner. You get all the Whole Foods sort of stuff. Actually, despite Islington being so aspirational, and everyone from Labour basically coming from there, from like Brown to Starmer to, not Brown, but Blair to Corbyn, they all seem to either be MPs here or whatever, live here, no. Technically Blair was an MP in Newcastle, but it also has a huge number of council estates. I think it's got one of the highest proportion of working class people, if you look at it that way, in the country. But they're sort of not so close to a tube station. I don't know if Somers Town, so that might be King's Cross, but you see a lot of like quite nice looking tower blocks. But I mean, alright, let's walk down to the Canal. So this is Angel Station there. Alright, and now we'll go into another poem. I've had more friends I've fallen out with than psychiatrists in a crisis. More psychiatrists in a crisis than stints at my parents' house. More stints living with my parents than exes I kind of miss. More exes I'd go for a drink with than random flat shares in London. More random flat shares in London than long-term spells of unemployment. More long-term spells of unemployment than the village people put together. And at 8:30, I'm 8:45, it's alright to be ahead of my time. I was a KP, washing dishes, fixing sandwiches, trying to be a chef, but it's all just serving food to the banker boys, blue-suited bankers. I've just become serving what I didn't want to be. And I'm bored. Phil Wang has scored with Ivo, Pierre and Ahir, the new Bullingdon club. They love the major label scene. I think they're James Dean meets Steve McQueen. I want to be with Hollow to Don, drinking lean. Not Mr Bean meets Mr Sheen. I'll hate till I lose my spleen. I get romantic looking at the Bellevue estate. Imagined neo-satanic neighbours to hate. Itchy feet there regardless. Just stick me in a TARDIS. Part smart, part Alan Partridge. Socially well regarded, but it's better to be guarded. And I'm bored of old men talking about unsheathing their swords. I'm bored of old men talking about unsheathing their sword at Poetry Unplugged. And let's face it now, it's a pay-to-play open mic night. I'm duty-bound to applaud, as these days I'm trying to rebrand myself as a nice guy. It's better off than being with the slack-jawed. Those comedians have got less dignity than crack whores. Talking to 24-year-olds whose eyes are bright. I'm stuck with leching men in the local pub in the daytime talking shite. My mouth is loose, my wallet's tight. Where's my reward? My anger's stored. But I'd rather be ignored than adored, and I'm bored. Phil Wang has scored with Ivo Graham, Ahir Shah and Pierre Novelli, each more talentless than the last, the New Billington Club, and they love the major label scene. And nothing is gayer than two straight men who used to be friends, fell out, pretended it wouldn't happen, and would act like best mates and suppress whatever feelings they used to have if they ran into each other. And now I'm back to square one. I saw Jake at the Victoria in Walthamstow. Liberty left, so he's flying solo. Well, I say left. They're still living together. He's on the sofa bed. Kind of likes it that way. Sees her as a friend, wants to be a bit of a man whore. And he dresses Dave Davis in his charity shop black polo, sings Come Dancing at karaoke, and his kink friend's pogo. We were at the Stag in Gospel Oak. The clientele to remind us we're broke. Next to sporty guys in Ray-Bans, overpriced Uniqlo and chinos, the George Osborne on holiday look. Jake feels the butt of a joke. Talks his dispossessed friends from the Chort Farm Road end, where they'll build offices and gastro cafes to fit the new trend. An Amy Winehouse statue helps the council to play best friends. Let's turn it into the post-Olympic East End. He won. I say, look, Jake, you can act like you're not from finer stock, like you aren't any different to the rest by the look. Worry they've gone from Five Spice to Chinese rocks. If the curry chicken was caught by a savage fox, if the £1 pizza man's teeth are brown, where jet setters shop for international wedding gowns, 199 GDN, LDN gowns in this Stalinised market for international renown. But forget it, Jake. It's Camden Town. He said, Josh, you still talk about the Edinburgh Fringe. That was 2015 and you're still unhinged. You weren't even kicked out by Calgate. Moan all you want, Mr. Too Little Too Late. It's not the right time to be quoting Polanski. 2 pints down, you're quoting Bukowski. Rome was just a dealer for Cosby and Woody. Smoke like a miner to your nails a city. I can't see a problem unless it's mine. It's faux condescension to tell a friend they're fine. The starving, miserable middle class gold mine. And I can't stop treading my finest line. Forget it, Josh. It's Edinburgh. It's not for you. It's for Bill Burr. You are now the cheese that curs in the pot of shit that still self-stirs. So the context for that poem is that it's about Camden Town in London, where a lot of the markets were closed. It was bought by a billionaire, and it used to be very affordable food. And when they got rid of that, it took away the social element, and there was a lot more crime and violence. And it went from there being a lot of police on the streets to a lot of security guards outside shoe shops. So these are all the canal boats here. We're getting closer. So we'll add a few more poems in once we're past the residential area. The human pinball will be back on the shelf with the remix, the other Oasis bit, and stabilizers. And then top of the Pots Brexit special, and then what's it called? Subtitles. We'll do a little bit of an intro. Yeah. I still see them, the old guys from the circuit, less and less, but we do bump into each other. I want to say to them, I was angry, I still am. I disagreed with you, I still do. But it's still me, guys. I'm still Josh. I know you thought I was someone else, but it's always just been me. I got stabilizers in my mind. Stabilizers in my mind. I don't get wound up and I can't unwind. I was broken by the daily grind. Now I'm broken from the daily grind. It's like stabilizers on your bike. They put stabilizers on your bike. You used to ride wherever you liked, but then you got destabilized. I have the smallest headache all the time. The smallest headache all the time. I get hungover from soda and lime. She took acid to expand her mind. The French girl who worked for Vice as a translator and hated the shit shows, who's from Green Lanes, whose mum slept with Mick Jagger when she was 15 as a supermodel, but they don't talk about it because she'd already met the dad. The French girl told me she took acid to expand her mind as a teenager and it fixed her depression. She happened to mention she was also then depressed for the whole of her 20s, but apparently that was unrelated. She said I should expand my mind, but now I will contract my mind. I'm 32 and I have an expanded mind, but now I can contract my mind. I went to see an old psych. He suggested to me an anti-psych. You try it for a week, it isn't right. You'd rather be destabilised. I had stabilisers on my mind. I put stabilisers on their bike. Now I can ride wherever I liked. I need to be myself. I can't be no one else. Feeling catatonic, cornets in my bonnet. Feeling nihilistic. You might now have missed it. On the borderline, it will make you feel fine. Feeling academic, somewhat schizophrenic in the sunshine. I don't do drugs, back on the shelf. Don't comb my hair, back on the shelf. I'm my own source of infinite wealth. Universal credit, don't pay till the 12th. Actually, it's the 25th, shut up. Too autistic to do dialogue, I'll keep your thoughts to myself. I'm my own source of infinite wealth. I'm a source of public health. I'm moving around, be static, by yourself. Containing myself with all my wealth. Building myself with all my stealth. I don't do drugs, back on the shelf. I don't drink much, back on my shelf. I've gone 7 weeks without smoking and 2 days back on the shelf. God, that's like, you know, I was saying in that other poem, office blocks are top gastro cafes. That's something that's built to look good in a brochure, like that as well. It's actually these. Look here, these are the old, maybe these are council blocks or the path on that side, they just look like subtle buildings. And this is like a fucking cocaine wank fantasy of a twat, which is an opinion. Alright, so let's see what we've got left. Millennials, oh no, okay, let's do the long version of human pinball. I went to Uniqlo late to the Tate Modern on a Friday night to try and feel young. Big mistake. There were huge queues. There was a grime with 200 capacity and 4,000 outside. That's awesome. It's a little Irish folk jig party. Okay. I went to the Tate Modern on a Friday night to try and feel young. It was sponsored by a jean company, Uniqlo or H&M. There was a big meditation in the turbine hall where you could take off your shoes. You could buy yourself a £7 can of booze. You could go to a fun fair and like play a game. You could queue for 2 hours outside a grime room. You could stand on top of the Tate on the 10th floor in the 14 skyscrapers that block London. I went to watch the second half of Arsenal Man United. I think it was 2-2 or something. And I realised, you know, the millennials being my generation, tuition fees expire, it's a free education. It's those overblown student types that are still 29 or 30 running these shit shows I watch out for. I call them Generation Hogwarts. Specs, scarves, pale calves, Harrys and Hermiones. Posh but learn to talk Cockney like Nigel Kennedy or Damon Albarn. And you're just bouncing around London like a pinball. You bounce around London, you're a human pinball. Small talk on Tinder dates, intermingle, networking, intermingle. STD hypochondria, just a shingle. Networking, while you're single. I'm in your ear, a jingle. 3 minutes in a circle, a 7-inch single. AQI in an ED tone hits the eardrum like a hi-hat cymbal. AQI on QI with Stephen Fry on Dave, and I'm for the birds. I'm stuck for the birds. You're just bouncing around London like a pinball. The Blur versus Oasis versus The Killers versus Beyonce. The Old Queen's Head punk pogo versus Ariana Grande. Oh, I quite like her actually. Song 2. Oh, the Old Queen's Head is a pub actually, not far from where we were, where there used to be huge queues. The King's Head opposite, or the King's, is really nice. This pub, which is like a very sort of, I never went, it's like hipstery young. Like they play Crazy in Love and Song 2. Maybe I'm too old to know what songs they play. It's probably Mr Brightside, isn't it? Okay. The Old Queen's Head, Blur. No, the Old Queen's Head, The Killers versus Beyonce, punk pogo. Song 2, more static in One Direction than Yaya Sanogo. Footnote 1. The fans who used to sing about Adebayor's elephants in Togo. You just bounce around London like a pinball. Small talk on Tinder dates intermingle. Fly to Peckham on a grime plane. You wouldn't live there. That's insane. 2 stabbings last week. Tourists don't complain. I'm the Orwellian Blakey and Bacon Jew. Try to offend me, I can headfuck you. The Star of David in the night sky. 2 triangles divide like the Batman symbol. Born in 89, human pinball. Born in 91, human pinball. Born in 89, human pinball. Born in 91, human pinball. Small talk on Tinder dates intermingle. And I'm stuck for the birds. Networking, intermingle. Go to Camden and do the smack thing. Isn't that the easy thing? You can go to the Hawley Arms and do the Amy and Pete smack thing. So to Bikram on a thimble. Bounce to Bikram on a thimble. If you're 29, I could be mugged by a 14-year-old, or you deserve it. If you want to play Miss Piggy, I will not be Kermit. My top score on the Dark Knight machine is 104 million. I'm the hipster hermit. You want to be playing the machine, not just a pinball bouncing around. Footnote 1 was, it goes more static in One Direction than Yaya Sanogo. Yaya Sanogo was, he was a Arsenal striker who Wenger thought would be the next Thierry Henry or Nicolas Anelka, and he played against Bayern Munich. He played like 20 games and never scored. But he felt quite bad for this guy because he had a lot of potential and he was just too young. I don't know. I'm a Barnet fan these days. I miss Highbury. They built a new stadium and Wenger couldn't make it as original as he wanted, and it just ended up like everywhere else. Alright, have we walked too far or not far enough? Let's take the next turning and head up. I went on a date and we were walking through that really bland thing, and there was a ground floor flat where they had the little garden space with all these bird cages, like canaries all singing, and she went, it's horrible. Which is a bit too cynical for that. People say, how can Boris Johnson get Brexit done when he can't even tell us how many love children he has? But at least there has something in common with the Italian politicians. Later, with Paloma Faith, the Top of the Pops Brexit special, the Endemol BBC scheduling space, the Top of the Pops Brexit special, Rita Ora croons over the inner city, Akala sermonises on our racist history, everyone holds up banners saying, Brexit shitty, Lily Allen wants a second referendum, Dua Lipa is going to table an amendment, Skepta's going to do a rap about the customs union. You know you should agree, but there's no way to defend them on the Top of the Pops Brexit special. And in New Jersey, California, Philadelphia, Patti Smith is drinking chai tea. She's finished her Tai Chi. She switches on BBC America. A fan, would I lie to you? You know you kind of are too. It's just another easy ride on a Dickensian Verona scene. PRU kids become midnight cowboys. Civil music makes civiliers unclean. In a rare moment of cognizance, co-host Jamila Jamil says to James Acaster, with the rising tide of unemployment in the southern poorer parts, the racism growing in, the new 10 countries, we went 15 to 25, Poland, Romania, Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro. Isn't the EU just a giant, not even a free trade zone, a free finance zone, wives in Monaco, bank in the Cayman Islands. Where's the European police force? Why can the second most famous footballer in the world go from one club to another in different countries to escape a rape charge? What have we all signed up for? Weren't Portugal, Ireland, Greece and Spain 20 years ago when the EU was rich, known as the pigs? We're always just buying into this British class system, whatever we do. And James Acaster says, you don't understand. I've got an orange jumper. That makes me left wing. Have you ever seen sausage on a barbecue? I like to think of them as a five-a-side team, and the buns are the opposition, and the spatula's the referee. I don't know. There's a place in the Pacific Ocean called Garbage Island. You've guessed it, it's an island the size of garbage. A continent the size of North America, they estimate. Oceans filled with plastic. When we look at the Middle East or America, good or bad, I think sometimes we're looking past them to Garbage Island in the Pacific. We've got a part of ourselves that just feels like garbage all the time. It's better than war. The world's always getting better, but it feels like it's always getting worse. I've got that complex, intricate, pick apart the pocket type style, and look what I've got in my back pocket. My mum and my brains are scrambled eggs. You sold your soul for a sandwich. Now look what I got in my back pocket. I found a way to make it through the day. The old chef's habit of the 6 a.m. wake up, 4 cigarettes before noon, writing or a walk or a quiet pint, a job application. It's the night that it comes, the haunting, like staring death in the face. I know it will go away, but what good's that to me? I sleep it off, wake up. I'm grateful I'm not an insomniac anymore, and wait for the next night. Quite a good thing is that, I wrote that, and actually sort of panic attacks and things like that sort of went away. So it's been a very therapeutic process, getting back into the arts the last year and a half. So this is, apart from the first, third, and the one I'm about to do. So I'm doing 3 from Poetry Vehicle 2020. I think that's what I'm going to call the second one. And the others are from Poetry Vehicle, available at joshuaross.bandcamp.com. And if you click on the Plain Sweet Clouds, those are the live versions for the second album. And I've got an album of Britpop covers that are deliberately out of tune, or I'm just out of tune, and that's unlistenable. And you can stream them all for free. Otherwise, Poetry Vehicle's £10, and the new EP, if you buy it, basically, if you give me £15, email joshuaross@live.co.uk, that will get you both albums. So that's 1 for 10, 2 for 15. So if you spend £10 on Poetry Vehicle, you've got an entitlement to get the second one for £5. Let's see, what else? The last poem's like 10 minutes long, so we'll make sure we're nearby Mr Cummings is, and then we'll start that to get my breath back a bit. I don't know if you can see it. The back of my jacket is my favourite thing. I'm not really a football fan so much, I haven't missed it. But I used to go a lot as a kid to that old stadium they knocked down. They sort of purged the stadiums before they purged the population. Thoughts and prayers with everyone. I mean, this is really here, the UK, America, Brazil and Russia to a huge extent. People think there's a world crisis, but those 4 countries have a vast number of cases, and the too short perhaps for the last one. Yeah, so that's Angel Comedy down there, isn't it? For the Bill Murray, I think. Yeah. And then we walked a bit in the wrong direction. We're taking a signal. Not too far up. Up there is Angel Station where we were before. Over there's Essex Road, Canterbury and Dalston, and I think are down here. Ish. Haggerston, near there as well. Hoxton. It's an ancient city. It's got a lot of place names. We wish we had room for you. That's not really what we do. It's not up to us, it's up to you. If you think the arts are for the chosen few, our attitude is, well, who are you? You think you're not in a chosen few, you're hardly from the dispossessed. No one's stopping you from doing your best. It's up to you to decide whether you're cursed or blessed. If it's the former, stay close to your nest. Use your cleat to comfort you. If it's the latter, the harder road is true, but art is really what you do. You got to be special in every way, not just special in your own way, to go from cracking wise to speaking true. Otherwise, if no one can hear it, it doesn't matter what you do. And I go, shut up. It's a pyramid scheme. You know, you let a bunch of talentless hacks, white guys in the 2000s, the Russell Brands, the Michael McIntyres, the Stuart Lees, the whoever made it, Josh Widdicombe's, the James Acasters, the fucking Dara O'Brien. No one could be less funny than him. And now you're telling me I have to be Jimmy Carr meets Stuart Lee, and it makes no sense. Jack Whitehall's, you know, it's a closed door. It's completely corrupt. There's a comedian that everyone knows has been, you know, tried and was essentially guilty and got off on a technicality for sexual assault. And no one will name Stephen K. Amos. You know, I've named him for years and no one sues me. There's evidence. You know what I mean? There's a case study. I've talked to the family of the kid who killed himself after getting serially abused. And people don't give a shit. But if they do give a shit, they sort of block it out enough and they don't care. That took a turn. Alright, so I'm lost, but we'll make it work. So here we go. Thanks to anyone who's engaged in this. Fuck, I gotta put it in subtitles or something, the tsunami surf. You are in the that's church. You sent a tweet, I'm commemorating, it was exactly this time last week, then retweeted by a verified celebrity. Your retweet total upward creeps 4,741, 2, 3, and you and I have drifted. There's troughs in life. Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa, but then there's Creed. Life does have its unexpected latter peaks. You've gone viral, I've gone vinyl. I'm opening a gym instead of Spotify. We're having Gonna Fly Now theme from Rocky on repeat. Running upstairs, punching the air, living our lives in a montage. I've measured out my life in Rocky tunes. I'm winding away from that drunk ex's tedious arguments. I never knew death had undone so many. They called me the Hyacinth Boy. At the Four Quarters Arcade, second branch in the Olympics Media Centre, hipster yuppies come and go. Who will get to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle machine as Michelangelo? Thinking they're Japanese for having played a bit of Sega. 8 in Chinese, bang, V-Trigger, the one-winged angel, Kenny Omega. Every week in a broadsheet, a story about how the British need to work like the Japanese. We already do. Look at the independent shops that survived in your high street. A core staff of 2 or 3, working 8 till 8, 6 to 7 days a week. Barbers that are 8 quid, do a good job. If you are specifically, framing centres with 2 or 3 quid, pictures of 60s iconography and old books of forgotten footballers from the 1950s. Off licenses like supermarkets on the inside. Cafes called greasy spoons. If you ever had a Turkish breakfast, you get halloumi, you get cucumber, you get tomato, you get toast, you get jam, you get olives. It's a delight. You know, I mean, I know we're a bit too drunk as a nation to quite get anything done. It's the pizza principle. There will always be a kink in the link. I've not been to Tokyo, but it sounds like 2020 London. Commuters coming and going. Post Rosh Hashanah lunch on the North End Road by the Hassania Al Razul Al Adam, footnote 2, community centre that the Beatles played once. My IBS hits. I'll stop there. In Golders Green, the old Hippodrome is, I went there and I said, because I wrote the poem, and I said, am I saying this right? Is it the Hassania Al Razul Al Adam Mosque? And they went, it's not a mosque, it's a community centre. Hassania Al Razul Al Adam, you looked up on Google and looked perfectly, but it's not a mosque. So, post Rosh Hashanah lunch at the Hassania Al Razul Al Adam Community Centre, my IBS hits. I'm polite enough to pass it off as a piss, not let on I'm skint, not have to buy anything, and by the time I'm back shit, you can smell it. It's been forecast for months, ever since the Cricket World Cup. It's all come at once. On a hill, the drains are overflowing. That lawn needs mowing and hoeing. Broken down cars were no longer towing. The dirt that covers the nuclear glowing. Honeysuckle ICA to be going. My Converse were overflowing. I never knew the Chuck Taylors had holding. He was the 47th best player in the world, just the best white one. I blame Nike. Am I a growling poet? Do you hear a jackdaw crowing? And I've not been to Tokyo. It sounds like 2020 London. Commuters coming and going. You can't tell. Toing from froing. Circles and triangles. Trick shot yo-yoing. Thinking of Japanese for having played Sega. 8 in Chinese. Bang V-Trigger. The one-winged angel. Kenny Omega. I got romantic looking at the Bellevue estate. But these days it's too hard. The neighbours, the office commuters that argue about the parking, the homeless barking, the Albanians to Slovakians sparking, the upper class Jews that get noise complaints for talking loudly on Saturdays once the Shabbos breaks. I'm not a shareholder, raise the stake, should stick to the gym half an hour a day, fading 8s, but I'll pack my bags, unpack my skates, see where my fate awaits. A week in the lakes at reasonable rates in a wintry March. In a square festooned with beefy policemen, the Radiohead rebellion has come and gone. Has Nelson lost his hand again? Does Bonaparte get the best of him? Part of an ever-marching roadshow. I saw it was organised by Peter Mandelson, but advertised in a paper edited by George Osborne. The worst headline in the worst paper on the worst day of all time. To give you points of reference, other headlines in that paper that very same day. Well, there's a story about Rufus, who met his wife on a bus in India, called himself executive consultant on their construction project, and then laughed how in the middle of the project the children were scared at the rats. There's a headline that said, In-Betweeners writer, not star, In-Betweeners writer buys a grown-up flat. An iceberg hotel they planned for Leicester Square because they couldn't get permission to make it 60 stories high. Half of it's going underground. You'll never get that done. A Diana memorial story on William and Kate. Apparently William has a place. He takes his mistress out in the countryside. A little bird told me. But it said that Kate was, in inverted commas, well impressed at how much William remembered of his A-level geography when they visited that melting glacier. They said you could buy 25% of a flat on City Island for £110,000. But the worst headline in the worst paper in the worst edition of all time was From Code Breakers to Ultra Runners in Flat Shoes We Salute You. From Code Breakers to Ultra Runners in Flat Shoes We Salute You. From Alan Turing to those that sterilised him. From Alan Turing to Jeremy Hunt. From code breakers to ultra runners in flat shoes we salute you. Bring your Fitbit along. Get your step count in. From code breakers to ultra runners in flat shoes we salute you. It said that word for word. Bring your Fitbit along. Get your step count in. From code breakers to ultra runners. You know, we've got Nick Cohn, we've got Tony Blair, we've got Peter Mandelson. We've killed millions in Iraq. We'll say 1 million people have marched. The facts don't matter. This is our disaster. From code breakers to ultra runners in flat shoes, we salute you. Can you hear it? because on a hill, the drains are overflowing, and that lawn needs mowing and a bit of hoeing. A broken down car we're no longer towing. The dirt that covers the nuclear glowing, and my Edgar Allan poem. Can you hear the jackdaw crowing? Helicopters over marches, low-hanging bowing. The feeling that we've all been stowing, the perennial button in need of sewing. I'm turning into Leonard Cohen. My Converse are overflowing. I never knew they had holes in. Commuters coming and going, and you can't tell the toing from throwing. Tourists, urban, GoProing. Circles and triangles, trick shot yo-yoing, and on a hill, the drains are overflowing. The feeling that we've all been woeing. Bambi's mother has been doing with a perennial button in need of sewing. And the rowers keep on rowing, and we really should be going, but the engines keep on glowing. The party lines we're no longer towing. The perennial buttons in need of sewing. The hidden truths we're disavowing. The captain of the ship was stowing the new ones off Ken Livingstone's bike on a canal boat rowing through the floods in Meadowhall. But I can see the Game of Thronesing. I saw the tweet he sent this time last week. It was retweeted by a verified celebrity. The retweet total upward creeps 4,751 to 3. And you and I have drifted, peaked. There's troughs in life, Rocky 5, Rocky Baba. But then there's Creed, the unexpected latter peak. I'm opening a gym instead of Spotify. I'm going to fly now. Theme from Rocky on repeat. Running upstairs, punching the air, living our lives in a montage. At the end of Game of Thrones, it's very underrated. You had this blonde entitled leader who's hidden behind everyone to get to the top. Always said they'd do things for family, whereas really it was all for power. Got to a point where they were seemingly invincible. In the middle of nowhere there's an egg. And the egg becomes a dragon. And the dragon can blow down a tower. And inside the tower, the blonde incest leader has been surrounded by yes men so long they can't see the inevitable. And the dragon, it has to kill the army, so the army aren't tribal and loyal to their leader in the future. You know, if there's one thing I've learned in life, call it a democracy, but from war leaders to anti-Semites, at the end of the day, you vote Labour. Bum 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 bum, getting stronger. I'm gonna fly now. I'm getting stronger. Do 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 do. Kangle remix. You suck. You suck. You suck. You suck. We're very close now, I believe. So let's see where we are and where we're going. Canonbury Road. I think it's up here. Let's see if we can work it out. What road's this? Because I can't turn off the recording. And we're just 5 minutes away or so from Mr Cummings. We get our bearings. No, that's my glass. Let's take them to Haddington Flow. Yeah, let's cut. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I used to, when I smoked a lot, to get over it. I was at my parents' house post-breakup. Get up running at 5 in the morning. I was 1-0 up on the day. by 7 in the morning I'd done something productive and had breakfast. I'd go to bed early, it would help with insomnia, and I could see the world in a posh part with no one there and be like, oh, once the new apocalypse happens, it won't be that bad. It's funny how comedy can become reality. It's been weird seeing Dominic Cummings up close. It seems a bit different every day, a bit more resigned to his fate. The media, they're clearly more respectful than they let on, sort of covering it up. They know they all back Johnson to the hilt and they can't quite turn on him now. But, you know, they're asking, but they're not really asking questions as if they want an answer. Put a rifle in his hand, meanwhile finance came and took his car. Just another poor boy fighting in a rich man's war. Oh, I can look at a bus stop, it'll give me a little map of where I should be. See, these are like more of the sort of old council estates. It looks like very serene and posh, but I'm sure they're all they're charged for rent, if they're privatised or bad neighbours. Or London's got so much quieter in lockdown. Usually on a weekend evening it's really a fucking rave. People do try and do their best. L. Bus stop L. So let's see. Oh, we're going towards Highbury and Islington. Way down there, they're going to come back. You well from this street. Come on. Now, when you go to Canterbury and it says Canterbury Road, maybe walk down that one, Josh. Why don't you take a turning the other way? Fucking idiot. Let's see. Any poems I've left out? Oh yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple about my ex with a new one. There's one where it's like, I know that you're a prick, but I could have been nicer. I ended up shouting at the estate agent from Hot Spicy. Went from drunken students to a couple of misers. Became each other's out-of-work supervisors. I know that I hate you and I could have been sweeter. I haven't quite changed my postal addresses. I know we could have been sweeter, like an overgrown student shopping at Nice. It goes like that for ages. and it ends up by going like, Doodle Pip, got to go before I turn to Scroobius Pip. Oh yeah, it goes, bad news, it's Josh. Just trying to put dirty laundry in the wash. And no, it could have been nicer. So many parks here. It's like paradise, isn't it? When they kick at your front door. And I've got another one. I'm on a train back from Cornwall, having not slept for days on holiday. Insomnia in life's pretty good now. So I've sorted my head out a bit more. But it goes, they call me the local ledge, but my brains are scrambled eggs. I'd rather be a creep. No, I'd rather be a cunt than a bag. My brains are scrambled eggs. Fucking lands of pea, I gambled. My eggs are scrambled with a lot of milk and black pepper. You can call me the local leper. And something about Jake the Peg, I don't know. I just like, because people use that stupid Bluetooth ear technology thing now. I just walk around saying them to myself till they're fluent, because I see so many people in the arts, in whatever medium, they'll do like an hour show and forget it all. You know, you really need, there's an eternal rule in the arts and in life, but you find your lane and then widen it. You know, you find what you can do and you work from there. I was just trying to write a one-liner in stand-up. I didn't plan all this. I'll do my stand-up chat. I was recently voted the third funniest person in my immediate family. Oh God, I'm so bored of it. 10 years ago, mate. 7. Am I still walking towards the wrong fucking way? Let's see. No, dearie me. What if we go over there? Like with this filming stuff, I just started off trying to record things on my phone, like recording gigs. I tried to walking up to a gig, and then I realised things about photography and how your phone works, and how to do a panorama and how to zoom. That's not really about how to read crop. Like if I just want to take one track out of this, my phone has an automatic section where it edits. Or with the album using GarageBand. Like if you forget, I need an expensive studio, I need a big agent, I need this and that. You know, you not get an agent if you need one, but I mean, people assume they need to be professional. But if you meet like really successful professionals, part of that is they're too busy and too popular to spend much time on marketing beyond having a clear company, a clear brand, a clear message. Oh. Okay, I think I'm going to stop the recording, look at a map, and then do a second recording of the walk to Mr Cummings.